Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how life has been for you after college. And yeah, we could just start from there probably.
Okay, yeah. So life for me has been a lot different post college. I'm not exactly sure where to start, but I'll just start with I moved to San Jose directly after graduating, and I graduated from college 2 or so years into COVID, and being in Texas, honestly, I didn't feel that COVID restrictions were just super intense by that 2 year mark. But when I moved to San Jose, I was kind of surprised how everything near me, at least, was shut down and a lot of businesses were closed. And so it was very difficult for me to meet people, especially because whenever I attempted to do meetups, you weren't allowed to socialize with people in groups 6 or more. And even with work, my job ended up going fully remote, and so I actually struggled a lot with, I guess, just social isolation, and that kind of surprised me because I would say I'm a very independent and relatively introverted person, and I really love my alone time. So even in college, when COVID first hit, socially, it didn't have that much of an impact on me because I loved being alone. I had a cat, had my dog, eventually got a cat, and I was able to still work. I was able to do my studies. I loved being alone. But anyway, post college, moved to San Jose. Um, I should also mention that when I was an undergrad, I loved school. And I just really loved my studies. And so I think post college as well, not having those constant pressures to meet was pretty difficult for me. And so when I started my job, I had a bunch of new free time and I didn't really know what to do with my life because I knew that I would not go to grad school for at least 3 years. And so I knew that I was going to be working. But yeah, I think that kind of it was just, I was in a very ambiguous time, and I'm still in somewhat of an ambiguous time, but I know what I'm going to do for my future now.
Honestly, yeah, there's so much there that I relate to 100%. Like, and I think, probably a lot of people could relate to this as well. Like people who, especially like growing up, who are, perform highly when it comes to school and academics and stuff like that. And then, graduating and then being in the real world all of a sudden. I think that's exactly why it could be a really hard transition because it's like a lot of your meaning in life comes from, doing well in school, and your a lot of your self-worth, at least for me personally, comes from doing well in school. So all of a sudden you're in the real world and you don't get, like you don't get that external validation as quickly or as easily or as in a predictable manner as you used to. It's like, okay, if I do XYZ, I'm going to get an A, and I will have that like internal, confidence that I'm on the right track and I'm headed in the right direction. And then all of a sudden you're in the real world and it's not like that at all. And so I feel like for me that was really difficult, and why like I miss school so much and I can't wait to go back. And like 2 years ago I was like thinking about going to grad school pretty much just for that reason. Like I mean I was interested in the subject as well, and I would have, probably enjoyed being in grad school and learning and all of that. But it was just like I really enjoy being in school, that, and primarily for that reason. It's like my whole life, like, everyone was like, okay, like you're good at this. Like, like you get easy affirmation, and that was like my entire self-worth. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, like what is the meaning of my life when I don't have that anymore? So, you know, I think that probably is related to what we wanted to talk about like the quest for meaning after, graduating from college, because it's like, okay, like what is my life gonna revolve around now? Is it just work, or is it other things, my relationships or whatever? So that transition was definitely very difficult for me.